Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. My name is Lisa Gambino, and I work with the Division of Professional Studies at UMBC. Welcome to the UMBC Cybersecurity Virtual Information Session. This afternoon's webinar will be presented by Dr. Rick Forno, Graduate Program Director for the Cybersecurity Program. Before we get started, I have a few administrative announcements I'd like to share. If you have any technical issues during this afternoon's presentation, you can call the GoToWebinar support line at 1-800-263-6317. You will have the ability to ask questions during the session using the question function located on the right-hand side of your screen. Please post your question in the question dialog box at any time during the presentation. At the end of the webinar, a 5-question survey will pop up on your screen. We ask that you complete this because this survey will help us to better serve you with future webinars. So let me introduce Dr. Rick Forno, Program Director for the UMBC Cybersecurity Graduate Program. I'm handing the presenter role over to you now, Rick.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Lisa. Hello, everyone, and thank you for spending part of this early summer afternoon with us. The UMBC Graduate Cybersecurity Program is entering its 4th year this coming August, and we've really been going full speed. And as the director, I'm very pleased to see where we were and where we are now. So for the next 2 minutes, I'm going to walk you through a little bit about what UMBC has to offer, the actual cybersecurity program, and then touch on the student experience that you as a prospective student here can take advantage of during your time with us. So let's dive right into things. For those of you who do not know, UMBC is again, the #1 up-and-coming university for 5 years in a row from U.S. News. This is a pretty interesting and I think pretty neat designation because it shows that we are very entrepreneurial in the opportunities that we endeavor to pursue, one of which being cybersecurity education, training, and research. We are very well known in Maryland and throughout the country for our science and technology engineering education and research programs. Employers know this and they want to hire our students. We are the #1, or I think the #2 provider of computer science talent to the National Security Agency, and again, their contractors, the people who support the agencies and the intelligence community and the government love us, and they want to find our students and hire our students as well. As a result, we naturally offer a full range of cybersecurity education, training, research, and professional networking opportunities. One of the neat things about UMBC is that we are one of only a handful of 4-year universities in the country that hold a dual designation from the National Security Agency and Department of Homeland Security as a center of excellence in both cybersecurity education and cybersecurity research. The names are a little different these days, but basically it's an official stamp, if you will, from the government's knowledge centers saying that we actually know what we're talking about and are a quality place for cybersecurity education and research. In terms of geography, we are located right between Baltimore and Washington, D.C., just off of 195 in Catonsville. So very convenient for most folks working in the cybersecurity corridor, if you will, here in Maryland. A little bit about me, just so you know, the program has been and remains in good hands. I've been with UMBC since 2010. I've had a 20-year history in cybersecurity and cyber operations in the workforce, both in the government, the military side, and the commercial side. I've seen this industry grow up. I've seen the discipline of cybersecurity grow up and evolve to what it is today. And a lot of those lessons learned, both from me and the faculty in our program, play into how this program is designed and how we actually teach the matter of cybersecurity. And I'll talk more about our faculty in a few minutes. Or actually right now. Our faculty are all adjunct faculty members, meaning they're coming from industry, they work in the field by day, and come teach for us in the evenings. They come from many different backgrounds, But the important thing is they're actual practitioners. They're doing this stuff by day, and they bring that experience directly into our classes at night, and items of the day that make the news certainly can be discussed that evening, and our faculty, chances are, if you read about it, someone in our faculty is working on it. Think of something like Stuxnet or Heartbleed or data breaches that have made headlines recently. Chances are somebody who's teaching in our program is working on these issues and can share some first-hand experience in the class lecture or discussion on these incidents. So we have a very tight relationship between the classroom and the industry. So we're not teaching cybersecurity in a vacuum. We really want to make this meaningful and relevant, and I'm happy to say our faculty are rock stars. Their name recognized in the field. Many have actually written books and other things that have established themselves as leaders, thought leaders in the field. I'm very proud of our faculty. So by spending part of your day with us today, obviously you're interested in cybersecurity. Well, who is our program for? Well, the short answer is it's really geared towards nearly anyone in the IT or the modern workforce, whether you're doing network security administration, you're a cyber crime agent, you're in law enforcement, you're an intelligence analyst, maybe you're doing IT contract and procurement activities. You need to know more about cybersecurity as you evaluate new technologies for your agency, your company. Okay? Cybersecurity touches almost every aspect of the modern workplace. As such, our program tries to touch on as many of these interests as possible. Our graduates, again, we've been around for 4 years. They have nothing but good things to say about us. Here are just a few samplings. There are some videos on our website as well. But the feedback we receive from our graduates as well as our current students is very favorable. They like what they're doing here. They like what we prepare them for when they leave us. And that to me is very encouraging. So our program has two components at the moment. The first is the MPS degree, the Master's in Professional Studies. The MPS, the key word here is P for professionals. Okay? It's geared for folks working in the IT or cyber industry already and not necessarily folks fresh out of school or looking to make a career change, although there are exceptions for very talented people. Folks that are best suited for our program, as I said, generally are working in IT or cyber or have very strong technical background through academics or related experience. Many of our applicants aspire to move into leadership and managerial positions in the IT community. They don't want to be a network administrator forever, and that's their choice, and we're happy to support them in their career advancement. Our prospective students and our current students, they seek an interdisciplinary approach to cybersecurity that's not just technical in nature for cybersecurity, the hands-on keyboard stuff, but also how does that fit into the real world at their workplaces or future workplaces. One of the things I tell people quite a bit is that, you can be the best geek in the world and you'll always have a job, but you may not have a career. And what we try to do here is allow you to position yourselves to either embark or further advance your career in IT and cybersecurity. And our students do not want to take a formal research-based master's degree that requires a formal master's thesis. So this is a non-thesis degree program. The program itself is designed around core courses and electives, as you might expect. And as you can see, the 7 core courses are a mix of both cybersecurity courses and courses that allow you to put that cybersecurity insight and knowledge into practice. We are continually refining the core curriculum, so what you see here may change over time slightly, but for the most part, it's a mix of cybersecurity and I'll call it soft skills, real-world professional education. Once you've done your core courses, or in conjunction with them, you also have the opportunity to branch off into electives depending on your special interests. Maybe you're more of a technical person and you want to learn about how malicious software works, viruses, and Trojan horses. But we have a course in computer science that looks at malware and reverse engineers it. Looks to see how it works, how does it function. It's very technical. Maybe you're looking at more non-technical aspects. Maybe you're an intelligence analyst or a policy analyst, and you're not necessarily interested in the bits and bytes, but how the bits and bytes fit into world politics or national strategy. Well, then a course like cyber warfare might be of interest to you. How do we operationalize cyber capabilities in support of the national security? So the electives really can follow along a technical or a non-technical track depending on your interests, and you can mix and match as you like. You have the opportunity to take courses not just in the cybersecurity program, the CYBR prefix, but also in computer science, CMSC, or information systems. So there is this flexibility to really tailor your electives to meet your specific needs and interests. I think that's really a hallmark of this program. We're not a completely defined cookie-cutter approach. You have flexibility, again, to meet your needs because everyone has different reasons for being here. So this is the master's degree. By contrast, within the master's, there is a 4-course graduate certificate in strategy and policy. And these are 4 courses, all of which are part of the master's program as well. So you could start with a certificate program, complete these 4 courses, earn your certificate, and then continue on with the master's degree, because at that point you're almost halfway done. So you can see there are 4 courses. 2 of them are actually core courses in the master's degree program, and then 2 more of these cybersecurity certificate courses are electives. So you have a good mix. You can start with the certificate and then carry on with the master's. Conversely, you can also start right with the master's, and then when it comes time to graduate, you can also request to get the graduate certificate as well if you want the second piece of paper. That's really up to you. But these 2 programs are very closely interconnected. Beyond just the curriculum, as I said, our instructors are really solid, really real-world experienced folks. They're name recognized. Our courses are tailored towards your interests, meaning that they will start in the late afternoon and evening. Generally, we start at 4:30, 6 o'clock, and 7:10 p.m. to accommodate your work schedule. Our courses meet 1 night a week for 2.5, 3 hours roughly. So you could take 2 courses during a given week. As I mentioned before, you also have the opportunity to reach back into the broader UMBC graduate catalog for courses and electives that may be related or of interest to you. And if they're appropriate, they can become part of your master's degree program of instruction. Beyond that, you also, as a UMBC student, will have access to our various research and student activities here related to cybersecurity. Our Cyber Defense Lab is part of the Computer Science Department. They meet bi-weekly on Fridays, and it's usually a guest speaker and student-presented work on very novel, innovative, groundbreaking cybersecurity research. You could join our cyber defense team, which we affectionately call the Cyber Dogs, DAWGS. They compete in regional cyber defense competitions like the Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition or the Maryland Cyber Challenge, which UMBC actually is a co-founder of. We have speakers that come to campus both for the cybersecurity program and also more broadly to the campus generally on cybersecurity issues. And you will be more than welcome to take advantage of those as they are announced and become available. And that's just a sampling of some of what the UMBC student experience offers. By virtue of us being an up-and-coming university and very entrepreneurial at that, we naturally have very close involvement and partnerships with industry, both in Maryland and throughout the country. We have a phenomenal career services center, a strong internship and co-op organization to assist you with locating, internships while you're a student here, helping you with doing your resume, career visibility days. We bring in companies and government agencies to do on-site interviews and meet with students who are interested in working for a given place. The career services folks here are very, very busy, and they have a very active schedule during the school year. We have a cybersecurity incubator in our research park where there is presently, I believe, 43 cybersecurity companies there in various stages of startup. Many of these companies look to UMBC, to the academic departments, for interns, students, for part-time work, and maybe even follow-on full-time work after they graduate. We also, through the Division of Professional Studies and UMBC Training Centers down in Columbia, offers non-credit technical training for students and the general community on hands-on technical stuff like the Certified Ethical Hacker, Microsoft Certified Expert, Cisco Certified whatever. Those opportunities are available through training centers, but they are non-credit, so you wouldn't get academic credit for it necessarily. And as I said before, we maintain very close partnerships with various government and commercial organizations here to both provide to get speakers to come to campus, place students, place interns, recruiting, and so forth. Many activities here, some of the research projects are actually funded or jointly funded by companies in the local area. So that's nice. We have a very tight partnership with the industry, and that does feed back directly into the student experience. As to where the program will go in the future, certainly, as I said, being an entrepreneurial program at an entrepreneurial university, we are fairly flexible. So we're able to roll out courses to meet student interest or workplace requirements fairly quickly. So, for example, this summer we're running a course on software security. That's been a very hot topic for many of our students. They wanted to know more about how do you build secure software. We're happy to oblige. Malware analysis. There's some local interest in analyzing malware. So the computer science department runs a malware analysis course, possibly a second one as well, and forensics, among other topics. So we're always expanding our course and program offerings to meet the needs of both the local industry and student interest. We have facilities at South Campus and also at UMBC training centers to give us more classroom and more specialized meeting space to grow and hold such courses as needed. In terms of financial aid, if anybody is interested, UMBC is part of two federal scholarship programs. The Department of Defense Information Assurance Scholarship Program, IASP, and the Federal Cyber Corps Scholarship for Service Program, or SFS. Both of these programs offer full ride tuition, professional stipend, internship requirements, and so forth. And in exchange for getting essentially a free ride, you are then required to pay back the government by working in a cybersecurity position on a one-to-one basis. So if you're funded for 2 years under SFS, after you graduate, you have to provide 2 years of service in a cybersecurity job at a federal agency. If you're interested in these programs, I'll have a website in a few minutes and I can direct you to that. One key thing to keep in mind is both of these programs require you to be a full-time student. So if you're working already, you either have to leave your job or not. This wouldn't be of interest to you. But those are for financial aid. UMBC is actively involved generally in other state, local, and national initiatives on cybersecurity education, research, STEM education. Again, we're really blessed by geography and are a leading center of thought leadership on these types of educational plans for the future. So UMBC, again, I'm very proud to be here. It's an entrepreneurial, very forward-thinking university, and the direction of our cybersecurity program over the past several years is strong evidence of that institutional culture, if you will. So here are a couple of questions I always like to throw out towards the end of the briefing because these are usually the first questions on people's minds. How many courses can I take or should I take? Well, I usually tell students take 1 or 2 courses per semester, especially if you're working full-time. If you're not working full-time, you could take 3 courses comfortably, but again, this is graduate school, this is not undergraduate, so our courses are more intensive, require more reading, more preparation. So I tend to say 1 or 2 courses per semester is a good starting point. There is no set order of courses per se, so there are no prerequisites necessarily for cybersecurity program courses up until you get to the capstone course. That's taken at the end of the program, so we require you to have taken everything else up to that point. But beyond that, there is no prerequisite indicated. want to emphasize that graduate level research and writing skills are essential. A big part of what this program tries to do is provide students with the opportunity to advance them, develop their professional expertise as professionals. That means being able to speak well, write well, work in groups, appropriately and effectively. So if your research and writing skills are not necessarily up to par, you've been to school for a while, or your English may not be as good as you would think, certainly you want to brush up on those either before you get here or early on along the way. As far as location, we are not an online program. Our courses are all taught in person or in a hybrid mode, but we generally are an in-person program. Courses are held on main campus here at Catonsville, South Campus, which is about a 5-minute drive away, or at UMBC training centers out in Columbia, Maryland, a little bit to our south. We also have this program available out at the universities at Shady Grove, so everything I've told you here, for the most part, equally applies. If you live and work out in the Rockville 270 corridor, you could take this program out there as well. The scholarships that I mentioned before, more information is available at that website you see, cisa.umbc.edu. There's information, more details, packets, application forms, and so forth. I mentioned the program at Shady Grove. This program is run at 2 campuses. However, you cannot cross-enroll. So if you are enrolled as a student here, you cannot take courses out at Shady Grove and vice versa. But I do like mentioning both campuses because sometimes a student, somebody like you who's on this webinar, may actually live out in Rockville and be working out there. So this may save you a little bit of the commute. So you have 2 options for program registrations. As far as transfer credit goes, UMBC accepts up to 6 graduate credits into this program, provided they've not been used for another degree. So if you started an MBA somewhere or another cybersecurity degree at another university and never finished it, we could certainly look at those credits for possible transfer. But if you completed a degree somewhere else at the graduate level, we cannot take those credits into this program because that's akin to double dipping, basically, or double counting. You can talk to me about course transfers either before or after you're admitted. There is no immediate rush to do so. But if you do want courses submitted for credit, transfer credit, we need a course description, a copy of the syllabus, the number of credit hours, and you must have gotten a B or better in those courses. There are some special agreements that are in place and will come in place where we will accept more than 6 graduate credits, but those have not been announced yet, so I'm hesitant to say more about it. But UMBC's general policy is we will accept up to 6 graduate credits into the program. And as that changes for this program with various agreements, we'll certainly get the word out. As far as application, the deadline for fall 2014 is August 1st for your completed application. Your completed application should be done online at that link. We'll need transcripts. Official transcripts are preferred for both. Unofficial are accepted for the certificate, but we do need official copies for the master's. A goal statement that gives us some background about your career, your interests, your reasons for being in the program, kind of tells us more about who you are and why you want to come here. Your resume tells us, again, it gives us more of an idea about your background and preparedness for this program. Recommendation letters are helpful. They're not required. International students, GRE, TOEFL scores, and financial documentation are required. Note, for U.S. students, we do not require the GRE. So we do not need the GRE test scores for U.S. students. As far as the application review process, you'll notice we ask for a goal statement and a resume. We look at the whole person's background and suitability for this program. So even if you have a degree in English, but you've been a network administrator for 8 years and you've done security work, that still makes you a viable candidate because you have that professional experience most likely to be preparing you to do well. By contrast, if you were just an English major, let's say, and you've got no other IT or cybersecurity experience other than changing your Facebook password, that may not be enough to get you in the door. So don't be look at the goal statement and the resume as a way to tell us more about yourself and your background. And to give you a little bit of a background about me, my undergraduate degree is in national security studies, but yet I've spent 20 years in the IT and cybersecurity, cyber warfare field. But when you looked at my resume 10 years ago, you would have no idea that I was a techie. And that same model applies here. Use the goal statement to clarify your background, your interests, your resume, and how you think you fit in here. We turn applications around fairly quickly once they're completed and the graduate school says they're ready for review. So you won't be waiting very long to know if you've been admitted or not. If you have questions about the application process, please contact Lisa Gambino. Her number is on the screen, 410-455-3034. She's my most excellent program coordinator, and she will be happy to get any information you need about the application process. If you have questions about the academic program itself, or UMBC and cybersecurity generally, how we as a university put it all together, please feel free to contact me. My address is listed. And with that, I will open it up for any questions. Lisa, are there any questions from the attendees? I can't hear you. No, I do not. Bear with us, folks. Minor technical hiccup. No, I do not. I hear you through the wall next door. How many students are there approximately in the class? We generally have no more than 25 students in a class. That's a comfortable level. It allows us to stay relevant and meaningful to everybody involved, both student and the instructor. And yes, I hear you now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, the next question. How long can it take generally to complete this program?
For the master's degree, you have up to 5 years to complete the degree. So 5 years to do 10 courses, and that's spring, summer, and fall sessions.
Thank you. Next question. Can you describe the capstone class?
The capstone class, to put it simply, at the moment is a supervised independent study that incorporates peer review on various cybersecurity questions and topics. The end result generally is a paper, a significant length, and a presentation to the class.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Is it required to have a bachelor's or associate's degree to be considered?
Yes, this is a graduate program, so you need at least a bachelor's degree to do it. An associate's degree will not qualify.
And lastly, for students who are currently at the university, how would they apply to the program?
For students currently at UMBC, you would apply through normal channels as a normal student. I think the only difference is your transcripts are in the system, so we can probably pull them directly. But I would point you towards Lisa Gambino for more guidance on that issue.
Right. Right, and that is correct in that you would still apply online and complete the rest of the packet, and you can contact me and I can get the transcripts for you at UMBC. But then looks like another question's come in. How relevant is cybersecurity in the healthcare industry?
Cybersecurity is extremely relevant in the healthcare industry. Think about all the medical records that are kept electronically and being moved into electronic records. Look at the number of Veterans Administration records that are electronic, your own personal medical records, prescriptions, counseling records, test records, extremely important. And cybersecurity is a huge concern for the medical and healthcare industry. So very relevant.
I think that's it for the questions. So thank you, Dr. Forno, for a great webinar. And for anyone that is interested, this will be posted on the website in a few days. If you have some colleagues that are interested in learning more about it, they can go to our website. And I'll leave this up to Rick to give a final farewell. Thank you.
Okay, well again, thank you very much for spending part of your day today with us. Hopefully you found this information useful. If you have questions, please visit our website, umbc.edu/cyber, or email Lisa or me as appropriate. Thank you very much and have a great day.